He knew nothing. He taught us everything. This is the paradox that changed the world. Imagine a man, not in a grand academy, but on the dusty streets of ancient Athens. He is not handsome, not wealthy. He walks barefoot, engaging anyone who will listen. This is Socrates. And his story begins with a message from a god. The holiest voice in the known world, the oracle at Delphi, delivers a shocking verdict. No one is wiser than Socrates. But Socrates himself is the most baffled of all. He believes, truly, that he knows nothing. So, he sets out on a mission, not to prove the oracle right, but to prove it wrong. He begins to question everyone. The politicians who claim to understand justice. The poets who speak of beauty. The craftsmen who master their trade. He uses nothing but simple, piercing questions, peeling back layers of assumption and arrogance. And with each conversation, a terrifying truth reveals itself. These powerful men, these acclaimed experts, they don't actually know what they're talking about. Their wisdom is a house of cards, and Socrates is the gentle breeze that brings it all down. It is then he finally understands the oracle's riddle. His wisdom wasn't about possessing knowledge. It was about recognizing its absence. While others lived under the delusion of their own expertise, he alone was honest about the vastness of his own ignorance. He wrote not a single word, no grand treatise, yet this simple, powerful idea would echo for millennia. But making the powerful look foolish has consequences. And Athens was beginning to run out of patience. This isn't just dialogue.
Consider this.
It's a weapon.
Should we concern ourselves
and it
not
exposes
with the
every
acquisition
single
of wealth,
lie you've ever
but with the
believed.
perfection of the soul?
Imagine walking
Tell me,
through
General,
ancient
What is
Athens.
the definition of true
A
courage?
man,
Is it
not
merely the
physically
absence of
impressive,
fear?
stops
Courage
a
is standing your
celebrated
ground
general
in
in the middle of the agora. He doesn't lecture. He just asks a question. A simple one. What is courage? The general, confident, gives the standard answer. But the man asks
The
another
unexamined
question,
life is not worth living.
and another.
We must
Each one
strive
peels
to
back
know
a layer of
ourselves above
assumption,
all
a
else.
layer of comfortable,
You are a great
unexamined
horse,
belief.
strong and proud.
Suddenly,
but you
the
have grown
general is
sluggish.
stammering.
I must stir you
His certainty
into
is
action.
gone.
He denies the gods
crowd
recognized
sees
by
it.
the state and introduces
You see
new
it.
deities.
The
This
man is
corruption cannot be
Socrates,
tolerated
and he
in
has
Athens.
just demonstrated
You
that
believe
this
you are
pillar
wise
of
in your
society
craft,
knows nothing
but can
about
you
the very
explain the
virtue
nature
he's
of the
supposed
good?
to embody.
If not, how can you
He
claim
called
wisdom?
himself a Gadfly,
stand before
sent by
you
the
a
gods
human,
to sting the
yet my
lazy horse
conscience
of the
is
state
clear.
into action,
I have
to
lived
awaken it
only
from
in
its
service of the
intellectual
truth.
slumber.
We must consider
This
the
wasn't a
laws.
popular
Justice
hobby.
demands a clear mind, not clouded
He
by
wasn't
emotion.
making
But the transgression
friends.
is clear. He mocks the
By
gods and
publicly
corrupts the youth.
humiliating the
If we
most
allow
powerful
this,
men
the
in the
bull means
city,
nothing. And if
politicians,
we deny him,
poets,
we risk civil
artisans,
strife.
he was revealing
The
their
choice is
authority
yours
as
now.
a hollow performance. You cannot expose the emperor's new clothes without making an enemy of the emperor. And for Socrates, this relentless pursuit of truth would come at the ultimate price. A price decided not by logic, but by a jury of his angry peers. Think about this. The pursuit of truth led to his execution. Not for heresy, but for humiliation. Imagine you are a celebrated Athenian general, a man of action and renown. Suddenly, a strange,
How can a
barefoot
city be
philosopher
great if its
approaches
citizens are
you in
not
the
good?
bustling agora.
Justice, then, must
He
be the
asks
pursuit
you
of
a
every
simple
man.
question.
In war
What
and
is
in
courage? You give an
Claim
answer.
This city is wise.
It seems
But what
obvious.
is wisdom if we do
But
not
then
first
he asks
understand
another
ourselves?
question. And another. Each one peels back a layer of your certainty, revealing not wisdom, but a profound and embarrassing
Your constant
ignorance.
questioning erodes the very
This was the
foundations of our
Socratic method.
society.
It was a
life unexamined
relentless,
is not worth
public
living,
dissection
General.
of ego.
The muses whisper
He
truths
did this
from
to
the void,
everyone.
and I,
The
their
poets who
humble
claimed
servant,
divine
capture
inspiration
the
could
echoes
not
of
explain
fate.
their own poems.
Explain then the meaning
The
of this verse.
politicians who
What
spoke
is
of
virtue,
justice could
according
not
to the
define
gods you
it.
praise? Virtue,
He
it is
systematically
excellence of
dismantled
spirit.
the
You undermine
intellectual
very
authority of
foundations this
Athens'
city.
most powerful
I
men,
only seek the
one
truth,
public
nothing more.
conversation
The
at a
truth,
time.
as you call it, is
And he
dangerous.
did it with a quiet,
You are guilty
unnerving
of impiety
politeness.
and corrupting the youth.
It was not an
The city
attack.
demands your silence. I cannot
It was
be
an
silent.
examination.
A life unexamined.
And they failed. Every single one. You see, people can forgive an enemy.
Is not the
They can
unexamined
even
life a
respect a
tragedy?
rival.
Regardless of wealth
But to
or
be made a
fame,
fool
we
of
must strive
publicly
for virtue
by a
above
man who
all
claimed
else.
to know nothing, that breeds a special kind of hatred. This was not a philosophical disagreement anymore. It had become personal. And in ancient Athens, when the powerful feel personally slighted, they do not
This
just
was
argue
Athens,
back.
the heart of a
They seek
civilization
to
that
remove
changed
the source of
world,
their shame
yet ultimately
permanently.
condemned its greatest mind.
The most famous trial in history wasn't about guilt. It was about the courage to think freely. And the fear of it. Picture the scene, Athens, 399 before Christ.
Here, in the shadow of the
The city's
Acropolis,
self-proclaimed
Socrates walked
Gadfly,
these dusty
a
paths,
70-year-old man
challenging the
named
very
Socrates,
foundations of their
stands
society.
before a jury of
From these
501 of
dusty
his
stones
fellow
rose
citizens.
An empire of the mind.
The charges are
A golden
severe:
age that
impiety
still defines
for
us.
not honoring the gods
Here,
of the
amidst
state,
the dust
and the
marble
far
of
more
Athens,
venomous
the seeds of
accusation of
democracy were
corrupting the
sown,
youth.
and the tragic fate of men
Think
like
about that.
Socrates unfolded.
Your
In this
entire
very
life's
agora,
work, your
Socrates
very
walked,
method of questioning
challenging the
everything,
minds of Athens,
is suddenly a
setting the
capital
stage
crime.
for his tragic end.
But when Socrates speaks, he doesn't offer a defense. He offers a lesson. He explains his philosophical mission, a divine calling he says came from the oracle at Delphi. He wasn't corrupting anyone, he was simply exposing ignorance, including his own. He was the gadfly, stinging the lazy horse of the state
Here,
into
beneath the
action,
shadow of the
into
Parthenon,
self-examination.
Socrates walked and questioned
In
everything.
front of the entire
It was
court,
here that the
he
examined
cross-examines
life
his
began.
main accuser, Miletus, tying him in logical knots until the man is utterly humiliated. This wasn't a plea for mercy. It was
Under
a
this
final,
golden
defiant
sky
demonstration of
rests
his
the heart
life's
of an
purpose.
empire. A
And
city
then,
of dust
he proposes his own punishment. What he suggests is so audacious, so utterly contemptuous of their authority, that it leaves them no choice. What if the meaning of everything hinges
He
on
spoke of
this?
truth and virtue, yet the
Socrates'
city
radical
saw only
truth.
impiety.
Imagine
Now,
you are there,
they had to
in
decide
that
his
sweltering
fate.
Athenian courtroom. The man before you is not pleading for his life. He is diagnosing a sickness of the soul. He looks out at the 501 jurors, his fellow citizens who are about to condemn
I shall
him,
not
and he
alter my
delivers the
conduct.
most defiant statement
I
in the
shall
history
continue
of
to
thought.
philosophize
He
and to
tells
question
them,
you.
point blank, that the unexamined life is not worth living for a human being. Think about the audacity of that claim. He's
The
not
weight of
just
the
saying
law
it's a
fell
good
heavily
idea to
upon the
reflect
jurors.
now and then.
Their judgment.
He's arguing
final
that a
and
life lived on
unforgiving.
autopilot,
Here,
a life
beneath
of
the gaze
inherited
of the
beliefs
gods,
and
the fate of
unthinking
Athens,
habits,
and
is
perhaps
fundamentally
philosophy itself,
meaningless.
would be decided by
It
these
lacks the
citizens.
one thing that makes us human, the relentless, often painful, pursuit of self-knowledge. For Socrates, this daily examination was more than a hobby, it was a sacred duty, a form of spiritual hygiene. To live without it was to be a ghost in your own existence. He was telling the court, and by extension, all of us,
Here,
that he
in the
would
heart
rather
of the
die
agora,
than stop
the
asking
citizens of Athens
why,
rendered
but
their
this was
verdict,
not just a
their
personal
stern faces
preference.
unmoved by pleas for
He
mercy.
believed he was a
Consider the
gift from
fate
the
of our
gods
city
to
should we allow
Athens,
such
a
teachings
gadfly
continue
sent to stir a
unchecked.
lazy horse
Justice
into
demands
action.
a verdict in accord with the laws
And
of
by
Solomon.
silencing him, they were not just killing a man, they were committing a crime against their own future. They offered him freedom, a way out. He chose hemlock. Was he mad or
Why
history's
do you
greatest
busy
hero?
yourselves with the accumulation
Imagine
of
the
wealth
scene.
while neglecting
The
your own
verdict is
souls?
read, guilty.
True philosophy
Athenian
begins when
court
we
holds
question
its breath.
everything we think we know. Even
Socrates,
here in
the
the
city's
shadow of
self-proclaimed
these
Gadfly,
Do
now
not be
faces his
surprised, men of
accusers.
Athens, at my demeanor.
They demand
I am
death,
accustomed to the truth.
but the law
not the
gives him a
theater of
final
fools.
move, a
The
counter-proposal.
unexamined life is not
He
worth
can
living,
suggest
my
his
friend.
own punishment,
But Socrates, how do
exile,
we begin this examination?
a hefty fine, a promise to abandon philosophy forever and simply fade away. This is his escape
Men of
hatch.
Athens, the evidence is clear.
Any sane
This
man would
corrupts
take
the youth
it.
and denies the city's God.
But Socrates was not just any man.
Of our society.
He stands before the 501 jurors, his accusers, and all of Athens.
Which is better only God
Does he
knows.
beg? Does he bargain for his life? No, he tells them they should be rewarding him. He suggests his punishment should be free meals for life at the Prytaneum, an honor reserved for Olympic heroes. You can feel the outrage ripple through the crowd. But for Socrates, this was not arrogance. It was his final, most profound lesson. To accept exile would be to betray his God-given mission. To stop questioning would be to abandon the very purpose of his existence. He had told them the unexamined life is not worth living, and now he was going to prove it. The jury, insulted and furious, quickly sealed his
But
fate.
consider this. Is
The
not
vote for
pursuit of
death
truth
was
the
even
highest
larger
calling?
than the vote for his
Silence,
guilt.
fool. You corrupt our
But
youth
in
with
their
these
attempt to
words.
silence him, they had just made him immortal. They thought they were killing a man, but they were birthing a legend. We fear death. Socrates embraced it. Did we get it wrong? Imagine the scene. A dim Athenian prison cell. His friends, his students, are weeping openly. The world they know is ending. But in the center of this storm of grief sits one man, perfectly calm. Socrates. He has spent his final day discussing
this
the
behavior,
immortality
my
of the
friends?
soul, not as a desperate hope,
I have heard
but as
that
a
we should
philosophical
die in
certainty.
silence.
For him, this is not an execution. It is a graduation. The jailer enters, holding a
I am
cup.
sorry, master.
He too
May the
is
gods
crying,
guide you.
apologizing
Be
to
well,
the
my
man
friend.
he is about to kill.
I accept my fate willingly.
Socrates then, without a tremor, he drinks. He feels the numbness creep up from his legs, a cold tide rising. He instructs his friends on what is happening, narrating his own death as his final lecture. He is teaching
We are
them how to
discussing no
die,
small
because he had already taught them
but
how to
how
live.
we ought to live our
His body
lives.
grows cold. His breathing shallows. With his last ounce of strength, he pulls the cloak from his face and utters a final, cryptic instruction. Crito, we owe a rooster to Asclepius. Please, do not forget to pay the debt, a debt to the god of healing, paid upon being cured from the sickness of life itself. It was his final paradox, a question left hanging in the air for 2,500 years. What did he truly mean?
We must strive for virtue above all else.
They
For an
executed him
unexamined
for
life
corrupting
is
youth.
not worth living.
They inadvertently codified the very pursuit of wisdom. The man they condemned, Socrates, left behind no books, no treatises, no manifestos. Not a single written word. By all accounts, his voice should have vanished with his final breath. So how did this Athenian gadfly, this public nuisance,
Consider then
become the
true
bedrock
meaning
of Western
justice,
thought?
etched here upon
Imagine
this very
this.
papyrus, passed
His
down through
ideas, a
generations.
complex tapestry of ethics and self-examination, were captured and immortalized not by him, but by his most devoted student, Plato.
He denies the gods recognized
Through
by the
Plato's
state,
dialogues,
introducing new
Socrates
beings.
speaks to us
This
across
impiety
2.5
threatens the very
millennia.
foundation of Athens.
We see him in the marketplace, relentlessly questioning politicians, poets, and artisans, unraveling their confident claims to knowledge. He forced them, and now you, to confront the most unsettling of questions. Do you truly know what you think you know? His central command was deceptively simple. Know thyself. This was not a call for quiet
As
introspection.
the sun set on the golden
It was a
age,
radical demand
the
to
shadows
critically
of fate
examine your
began
every
to lengthen
belief,
across
your
the
every
Acropolis.
assumption, your very definition of a good life. It was a blueprint for a life of purpose, built on the foundation of reason.
We must examine
The
our
Athenian
arguments,
court sought to
piece by
silence
piece,
one man.
to find the flaws in our
Instead,
foundation.
they amplified his voice into an eternal echo, a challenge that has shaped civilization and continues to whisper to anyone brave enough to listen. They tried to bury a man, they ended up planting a forest.